Hi everyone, welcome back and thanks for stopping by. Today I'm completing a layout for the SNL Saturday Stash Dive. And if you're not familiar with that, the Stash Dive is every week we go in and we have a certain topic. This week it's wood veneers. We're going to be using up our wood veneers, but we go through our stash and try to just work through and use a lot of the product that we may just have sitting around. And so this weekend is all about wood veneers. So I'm starting a layout today. I am actually finishing up my December hip kit. I'm using the December hip kit club kit and trying to finish that up. I'm at the very end of that, so I'm going to try to kill that kit on this layout. And so what I'm doing is I'm just starting my background, and I am going to be, I prepped it with some clear gesso on some white cardstock, and I'm going to go ahead and start applying just some mist. I want to do like a color background. If you saw my photos, they're kind of like in a bluish aqua blue, so that's kind of the color scheme that I'm going to be going with my background. So I have it prepped with the clear gesso, and I'm going to go ahead and just hit it real quick with my heat gun and kind of speed up the drying a bit. And I've cut a lot of that out so you don't have to watch it took a little bit of time to get it dry. So I'm going to go ahead and start layering. And I'm using some packaging to just apply some of that. I've seen a lot of people that I love to watch. Missy Whidden does that, and so I thought, I'm going to try it. And I used it a little bit. I got to play with that a little bit more, but I really just started kind of just applying different color mists in almost like a watercolor form. And I have several different colors in the blues and the greens and aquas, and I'm just layering different colors on and kind of smearing them, doing a little bit of watercolor effect and dabbing that on so I can create a colorful background. I love the look of the mists and watercolor, and so I'm just layering those on. And I've sped it up here quite a bit because it did take me a little bit of time to do, and I didn't want to drag it out and make the video like 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So I've sped it up quite a bit here for you so you can see the process a little bit quicker. So what I'm doing is I kind of put a little bit of water on the paper and then just splatter a little bit of ink, and then take some water and maybe drop it, and you can see it kind of spreads out in that water. And then I'll kind of dab it. I don't let a lot of the water sit on the paper too long, because I have found in my experimenting that really, it almost makes the paper start to fall apart. Even if you use watercolor, or you prep it with gesso, the longer the big puddles of water sit on there, the more that paper is going to start falling apart. So I do kind of like dab it, and not only does it help it dry quicker, it helps preserve the paper a little bit more too. So I just have different inks. I've got some Delusions, Calypso Teal. I have several different colors of the Mr. Huey's, blues and aquas. I also have some Heidi's Swap Color Shine in the blue and kind of like an aqua green. And I'm just layering different colors on to give the watercolor effect in the background. So, and I was really happy with the way that it turned out. I really liked, the colors and how it came out, and I was really pretty pleased. And you'll see by the end of the video, I actually ended up pretty much covering up most of it. So I was kind of like, maybe I should have thought that out a little bit better, but because I do love how it turned out. But that's what it is. It's meant to be a background and not to be the take center stage of the layout anyway. So it worked out, but I really love the colors. I thought the colors came out really pretty. I was really pleased with that. And so I pretty much got that done, and as far as the blues. And so I am going to be adding a little bit of texture paste just for another layer. I just like to have different layers. So I'm sorry, not texture paste, I'm using ink right now, that's right. Just using a stencil and adding, I have the little inexpensive ink pad and just rubbed it right on with a stencil. And then now I'm going to go ahead and layer some texture paste over the top. And I just kept it white just for just to add a contrast color, just to keep it white. And I just wanted a few little spots of texture here and there. And so I'm going to go ahead and put that around the page. And I just used some texture paste. I found mine at Michael's. I don't know which. I think it's Liquitex brand, but you can find it at Michael's or any of your art supply stores. Modeling paste, and it just dries kind of like to a hard texture. And then I'm going to be backing that with, I did want to put a back background on that. And I'm just using some Bella Boulevard paper that I had in my stash of pattern papers. I have a whole stack of pattern papers that I haven't gone through. So I just went through and found a pretty blue. I really like that blue. And I think it's a polka dot. And so I'm just going to trim my actual layout down and then mount it on that background. And you're going to see me here. I create a little snafu. I have a hard time, I don't know why I have a hard time applying these things straight. But anyway, when I put it down, it ended up going down crooked. And so I'm going to, you'll see here, it's very obvious. Most of the time I'm not too picky. If it's not really obvious, I'll leave it. But this was pretty obvious and it really was going to drive me crazy. So I decided to just pull it off the page, and I try to start at one end and then roll it, because that way I find that it gets, everything flattens out kind of, and it'll flatten out that, mixed media. When you work on that, it tends to get a little bit bumpy, a little bit wobbly, and I find that when I put it on a background paper, it tends to smooth it out. And so you can see here it was pretty off on the left, a lot more space on the left than there was on the right. So thankfully my ATG hadn't completely adhered yet, so I was able to rip it off with minimal tears and rips on the paper. So I was trying to be very careful, but I did want to put that on again because it was going to drive me crazy. So here I'm just going to straighten it out real quick. So mistakes happen, and you work with them and move on, which is what I did. It worked out. So okay, so there we go. I've got my sorry, that's off camera a little bit there. But I've got that layout ready to go, and I think I'm going to add one other layer of color. I was having problems with my ATG, so I was fixing it real quick. I did want to add a little bit of, you're going to see me add a little splash of yellow, because I just wanted to bring a little bit of brightness out. I love the blues and the aquas and the greens, but I wanted just a little splash of yellow. And so I'm going to be finding my, getting into the, I want to say it's Delusions, but I don't remember the color. I'm sorry. Here it is. Let me check real quick. Lemon Zest, and it came in our, I want to say our March or February hip kit. I don't remember, but I love this Delusions spray. It's from Ranger, and I was pulling out my Mr. Huey's there, but I didn't have a yellow that I really liked. It was kind of like a mustardy yellow, those other colors, and I was wanting a bright yellow. So I went in and found, I was like, oh, I still have my hip kit, I think from March, that had that Delusions spray. And so there I am opening it, and it is just a beautiful bright yellow. I love the Delusions ink sprays from Ranger. They're so vibrant and so beautiful. Every color that I've had is just gorgeous, and so I've been really happy with it. So I wanted to just do a little splatter of yellow to kind of just give it a little pop of color on the page, because just give it a pop of color. That's really all I wanted to do. And so I'm actually going to be using some cut files from the cut shop, and I've cut those on my silhouette. And I actually cut everything on, I think I've said this before, but I cut everything on white cardstock. And what that does is it allows me then to color whatever color I want. I can mist them, I can paint them, I can do whatever. And so you see the Like, XO, and the Love. Those are the cut files from the cut shop. And I cut those on my silhouette. And to kind of tie in that yellow, I decided I wanted to back my photos on some yellow. So this was in the hip kit that I had, that I was trying to clear out for December, was that yellow paper. So I decided to go ahead and back some of my photos on that, and kind of tie in that yellow pop of color. And I'm just kind of putting some pop dots or a dimensional tape on the back of that photo, because I really wanted it to kind of be lifted off the page, because I really wanted that picture to be my focal point of the layout. And these are pictures of my grandson. We go walking, try to go every day to get some activity in. Well, my daughter started coming with us, and she brings my grandson, of course, and so he's usually in his stroller for most of the time, and we usually walk 2 or 3 miles, and so he's in there for a while. And so we kind of, like, by the end of the walk, we're pulling him out. This day we were like, let's get him out of the stroller, and we started walking with him, and of course he wants us to swing him and all of that, which we do, but then he was kind of getting tired of walking, so he got up on my husband's shoulder. He calls my husband Pop, and my husband started carrying him on his shoulders, and he thought that was just the best thing ever. I mean, he was in heaven. Not only does he love my husband, I mean, he's just, everything is all about his Pop. But he just thought he was up higher than we were. He could see everything. And he just, when we took him down, he just started crying. He was like so upset. He loved riding up there. So, I just had to do a layout about it. I just thought it was adorable. So, but the picture, I happened to snap the bottom picture. It's not fully in frame, but I loved it because, we were walking, I was trying to snap pictures, and I just happened to grab that of that big old smile. And so I had to use that. I really wanted that to be my focal point. So, anyway, what I'm doing now is I'm taking those cut files, and like I said, I cut everything on white, and then I can recolor it for what I want to use it for. So on this layout, I wanted to go ahead and tie in some more yellow. So I'm using some gelatos, and I'm just going around the cutout with the gelato, and then just taking a baby wipe and just rubbing it in, just to kind of give it a, kind of like a smeared look. It's kind of like a graduated look, just around the edge. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on all of those, and quickly go around the outside edge with that gelato, and then just rub it in. And I just find when I use a baby wipe, the moisture of it it spreads a lot easier. You can use your finger and spread it around. It's going to be more concentrated color because it doesn't smear as easily as when you use some moisture or water. So I just took a baby wipe and just kind of went around it, and it smeared beautifully. And I really like the way that turned out. It didn't color it completely, but it did give it the pop of yellow that I was wanting to do. So I went ahead and colored those. Now, what I'm going to do here is I decided to back those with the pattern paper. In hindsight, now that I'm even looking at on the video, I was like, I wish I had left those blank because I love the watercolor coming through the background of those cutouts. But at the time, I thought, oh, that's pretty to color it, to back it with a different color. And that's what I did. So, of course, that's what I ended up with. But looking back, I think they look beautiful just with a blank to have that watercolor popping through. But anyway, I did go ahead and back those with some pattern paper. And it's just in a coordinating aqua color. This also was in our hip kit to the paper. Like I said, I'm trying to kill that December kit. Yes, December. So I decided to go ahead and use finish up the bits and pieces from that kit. So that's where this pattern paper is from that I'm using. So I'm just going to cut circles around there. And I'm sorry, I know this seems like a long video. I've tried to shorten it and speed it up in areas. It just seemed like it took me a little while to do this layout with all of the layering of the colors on the background, and then seemed like I did a lot of, I don't want to say fussy cutting, but a lot of this type of thing where I was just applying different layers. And so I've tried to speed it up in areas, so I hope you don't get tired of watching it by the end. But it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Actually, on the day that I worked on this, we were having tornado warnings. It was super stormy, and so at this point when I'm working on the layout, I'm sitting in my room, and I had the window open because I love the rain, love everything. Hadn't started raining yet, but we even at one point had the sirens going off. So yeah, I was just relaxing in my scrapbook room and just enjoying the day. So nothing happened. The storm blew over. It's no big deal. But anyway, I was just enjoying it. So I was probably taking my time because I was just enjoying it so much. So, and I don't know what happened. I was trying to get that background placed on that thing, that circle, and it just wasn't covering all the areas. I don't know what I did, but finally got it to work. So. And so I'm trying to wipe off my hands because I kept getting gelato on my hands from working with those circles. And then I'm just hot gluing those down, and I just was kind of randomly placing them down. And then now I'm getting to the point of what this layout is all about, which is our wood veneers. And I'm sorry if you hear sirens in the background. I am sitting with my window open because it's a gorgeous day today, so hopefully they'll pass quickly. So what I did is I just went in my stash of wood veneers, and I pulled out a bunch of different wood veneers. I had some in the kit from the kit that I'm trying to kill and complete, but most of these came from my stash, and so I was really trying to pull out several and use them. Now let me just say, some of these I have I have altered a lot of my wood veneers, and I didn't go into detail on this video, but I do have a bonus video posted that shows some ideas on how you can alter your wood veneers, because I don't know about you, but a lot of times, I do like the wood finish, but then there's times that I want something a little bit more, it doesn't go, I want some bright color or whatever. So I actually have a bonus video posted where you can see some of the things that I did. It's actually some of these same wood veneers where I've done some altering on them, whether it's painting, misting, and even some foiling on wood veneers. So you want to make sure you check that out. It is in my feed, and my videos posted, and so that's the bonus video. And I show how to color some of these that you see here are the exact ones that I show in that video. So you want to make sure you check that out. And then what I'm doing here is I was going ahead and I wanted to do some journaling, and I took a pencil and was trying to draw some pencil lines. Well, the pencil I used ended up being really dark, and I didn't realize it, so I couldn't erase it. So what I did is I just embraced it, and I just drew black lines for my journaling. So I typically don't do that, but I just made it work with I didn't want to mess up that journaling block, so I made it work and drew some lines and went with it. And so now what I'm going to do, I'm just adhering some of these several wood veneers all over the page. And I like to mix and match. Some of mine are colors, some are wood, some are shapes, others are words, and I like to cluster them together. I think that's a great way to use up some of your wood veneers, is to cluster several together and use them in an embellishment cluster. Even maybe layer a couple, which I'm going to do here. You're going to see me do with that heart and the arrow, and I'm just going to layer one on top of the other. And so there's lots of ways that you can use your embellishments, your wood veneers, and you really get use out of them. And we have, usually you get a lot, and so to use just one on a layout here and there, it's going to take you forever to go through them. So we're using wood veneers, so I just used several on one layout, and I think it worked good. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere a few enamel dots here and there. Just some little pops of yellow and teal and blue. And so I'm hoping that this kind of maybe gives you some ideas on using your wood veneers, maybe gives you some thoughts of how you can use yours. And make sure that you do check out that bonus video, like I said, and check out some ways to use up those wood veneers in maybe a different way. And so I'm also using some puffy stickers that we got in our hip kit, and I'm just adding a few more for additional embellishments because I haven't used very many of those yet. So I'm just using a few more puffy stickers on the layout, and you're going to see me that star up in the upper left corner. I just wasn't happy with it. That's one that I actually foiled, and you can see that in the bonus video, but I didn't care for the silver foil on this layout. So I'm actually going over that with my cracked pistachio paint right on the layout, because I just wasn't happy with the way it was working out. So I just painted over that real quick and covered that silver. And I think that's going to just about wrap it up. I'm going to add my date stamp, and that's going to pretty well wrap it up. I've got some close-up pictures coming up for you, and make sure that you do check out the bonus video. You can join our Facebook group. It's the SNL Design fan page. I have a link to that in the box below. Also, Craft and Mama with the SNL Design team has a share today on wood veneers, so make sure you check out her video as well, and I will put a link to her video. Okay, and thank you so much for watching today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and you have a great day. Bye-bye.